TN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Tuesday morning. It's 5:30. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for getting your day started with us. And good morning to Miller over in the Weather Center, all ready for today's forecast and beyond.
Yeah, a lot of this going on today and tomorrow. We got some hot temperatures back in the forecast, and we do have the possibility of seeing maybe even a bigger heat wave next week. But the next 2 days, you get 2 days in a row where you're well above average. I guess you could call that a mini heat wave, and that's what we're going to be starting today. It's a nice start this morning, though, at shot courtesy of the Stockman Bank weather cam, sitting at 57 at Logan. Humidity sitting at 57. Winds coming out of the southwest at about 16 miles an hour. Quickly, some temperatures around the viewing area. Roundup at 54, Belfry at 58, Crow Agency 51, Colstrip at 56, and Livingston sitting at about 49 right now. Highs today, you see a lot of 90s popping up across the board, and we're going to hold on to some 90s for the next couple of days with high pressure really making things dry. In fact, we'll have an elevated fire risk tomorrow and maybe Thursday as well, as we'll see some gusty winds and very low humidity. We'll go with a high today of 94. That's a good 15 degrees above average. And we're going to stay above average for the next couple of days before a cold front comes in and cools us down. What does that mean for our forecast, and do we have more much needed rain on our way? I'll let you know coming up.
Gosh, seeing those 90s.
Next week we could see a couple of 100-degree days. No, I'm just going to leave the building right now. I have no good news.
I'm just saying it's torture sitting at my daughter's outdoor swimming lessons when it's that hot, and I'm like in the verge of panicking because I'm like, I don't know how to cool down right now. Like, what do? I want to stay out here and support her. And
can you just go in there and do a big belly flop into the?
Oh man, how
watch
bad
out, kid! Mama's coming.
How bad I wanted to. All right, I need to look up some cool down strategies for the hot weather. All right, Miller, I'll get to news. Thanks.
Okay.
We begin this Tuesday morning with good news on wildfires burning in Montana. The Robertson Draw fire south of Red Lodge did not grow yesterday and is now 45% contained. Officials explain there was an increase in smoke coming from the fire yesterday, but that was due to burnout operations along the containment line. The fire is just under 30,000 acres. Today, officials expect increased fire activity as the weather gets warmer and dry. There was no major spread on the now 20% contained Crooked Creek fire burning in the Pryor Mountains. It sits at just over 5,000 acres. Both this fire and the Robertson Draw fire are being staffed by the same management team. Their home base is in Belfry. BIA Crow Fire welcomed an unusually small class of rookie wildland firefighters for this fire season. And as I had a chance to visit with them, their much anticipated first day on the job came much sooner than planned.
I thought we'd wait till like August or July, late, I didn't think we were gonna be working. And then that second day we were training, it was just like, what? Are we gonna be able to go?
The answer? Yes, as wildfire season on the Crow Reservation kicked off early with the buffalo pasture fire in the Bighorn Mountains.
We were expecting to wait for a little bit longer, but everything popped up.
And after 7 fast-paced days in rookie school,
we're pretty much at the last day, so yeah, we're getting in there.
Being sent to the front lines so early in the year is something that came as a surprise, even to veteran crew members.
Look like it's going to be an early fire season. Look like it started right now. Just recent years that we had hardly any moisture.
Especially up here in the Bighorns. I mean, we rarely ever get fires up here in the Bighorns, and it was a shock.
For members of the Crow tribe, the Bighorns are one of 3 mountain ranges within the reservation that these rookies now have the skills and knowledge to protect.
The wolves, the bighorns, and the Pryors, and they all hold a different significance for all of us. We like to think of them as sacred and where we can go to clear our heads and find meditation and peace. For a long time, these mountains have been really special to us.
Drawn to the mountains through a special connection and drawn to the job through a special bond.
My family has all been firefighters. My Kalas were the first female firefighters, so it's always been like a dream to like follow their footsteps.
Our grandpa joined a while back, and that inspired my dad to do it.
My dad, he started back in 1987, 1988. He did 7 seasons, and that's what really got me going.
My family has been doing it for a few generations now. My grandparents and my great-grandparents. as well as my uncle who's in Helitech, my great uncle who is a wildland firefighter also, and so I'm just trying to carry on the tradition.
Whether they do it for one season or make it a career, the possibilities begin with rookie school.
If they come to the rookie school, they'll find out if they like it or not. If they like it, they can make it a career out of it, just like me. When back in '93, I just tried it out, see how it was. But now I made a career out of it and I love my job.
In a fire season where they could use all the help they could get, interest is lacking.
My rookie year, man, there was like maybe 4 crews, and now seeing the rookies, we're getting less and less. Like last year we had like 28 rookies, and this year there was only 7.
As the 7 get their first look at the scorched remains of Little Bull Elk Canyon, reality sets in as they become the next generation of wildland firefighters.
I've heard stories from family, friends that have all been doing this for 30-some years, and they tell me it's actually a lot of fun. You get to go a lot of places you've never been before, so I'd advise that if you like being outdoors in the wilderness and stuff and don't mind the heat, something to get into.
And while the team makes sure flames from the Buffalo pasture fire don't spread to other parts of the Bighorns, they told me in this case the fire is actually helping to replenish the forest floor and clear out old dead timber. Now near Townsend, the Deep Creek fire is 75% contained and is holding steady at just under 5,000 acres. Fire crews focused on holding and improving the fire line to the north and south of Highway 12. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And we have new video showing the moments after a helicopter went down while battling the Deep Creek fire last week. It shows Highway Patrol Trooper Amanda Villa running toward the downed aircraft. She makes contact with one of the people involved in the crash and learns there are still 4 others inside. Villa helped all of them crawl out of the window, and just a few minutes later, the helicopter was engulfed in flames.
I just knew that I couldn't just stand there and let those people stay in there while it was on fire, and that could have happened. So my biggest concern was we need to get these people out, we need to get away from here, and that was focus number 1.
A crash report on this accident was recently filed and reveals it could have been prevented. Wind played a role in the helicopter going down, but there were procedures that could have been followed to stay in the air. The pilot and crew have opted to retrain for adverse wind conditions. A toxicology report for the pilot came back clean. Now we go to Yellowstone National Park, where a woman was sent to the hospital after being injured by a bison. It's unclear how the encounter happened. The 30-year-old was hiking with another person on Storm Point Trail when she was attacked. She was airlifted to a hospital in Idaho Falls, and her injuries are described as significant. She is recovering, but her current condition is unknown. In national news, a voting rights bill is likely dead on arrival in the Senate today, but that won't stop Democrats from trying to push it through without Republican support. The bill would automatically enroll eligible citizens to vote, require at least 2 weeks of early voting, and outlaw gerrymandering. Senate Democrats can't overcome a GOP filibuster without at least 10 Republican votes. Some feel this may create momentum from Democrats to try and permanently abolish filibusters in the U.S. Senate. Supporters of the voting rights bill gathered at the Montana State Capitol in Helena. Speakers at yesterday's rally said it's time to fight back against efforts in Montana and across the country to make it more difficult for people to vote. The state's GOP majority passed several changes to voter laws in the last session, including ending same-day registration. Speakers at the rally said that's a tool of authoritarian governments, often justified by false claims of voter fraud.
Indeed, democracy cannot and will not survive if the politicians in power degrade, diminish, and destroy the ability of we the people to vote. Those politicians who are telling us that our elections are not secure, that there is voter fraud, that our election results cannot be trusted.
The rally and march were attended by about 100 people. Now in court news, a Butte mother is going to prison for accidentally smothering her baby to death in 2019. Audria Nickerson was sentenced to 20 years in the Montana State Women's Prison, with 6 of those years suspended. Nickerson was high on meth when she fell asleep on her infant daughter, smothering her to death. The 31-year-old pleaded guilty earlier this year to negligent homicide. College athletes took home a big win in an ongoing battle over player rights. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court ruled the NCAA's strict limits on benefits to student athletes violates federal antitrust law. The ruling focuses on how schools reimburse players for things such as computers, science equipment, and musical instruments. The narrow ruling does not directly address athlete compensation, but it could ultimately change the landscape of college sport.